At the far end of a quiet village, near the edge of a dense forest, stood an old hut, a lonely home swallowed by the scent of wet earth and early morning mist. That's where Abdullah lived, a hard-working young man devoted to his ailing mother, Amina Bibi, who had been suffering from fever for days. The night was cold. Wind howled through the bamboo grove, and inside the hut, the only sound was his mother's weak coughing. Abdullah hadn't slept for nights. He sat beside her, gently fanning her and whispering prayers. At dawn, he looked at her pale face and said softly, "Ma, today I'll bring enough firewood to sell. We'll buy medicine." His mother smiled faintly, then coughed again. Abdullah took his old axe and walked deep into the forest. All day he chopped wood under the burning sun. When he brought it to the market, the village leader, Kutab Mia, sneered. "Why ask for such a high price, boy? This wood is from our jungle. You'll get half. Take it or leave it." Abdullah said nothing. He just stared silently into the distance, seeing only his mother's suffering face in his mind. That evening, he returned home with the village doctor. The doctor examined his mother and wrote down a few medicines. He said, "These aren't available here. You'll have to get them from the town. It'll cost 1,000 taka." Abdullah's heart sank. He didn't even have 100. The next morning, he made up his mind. The nearby forest was nearly empty of good trees, so he decided to go to the other side, a place no one dared to enter. People called it Noor's Bamboo Grove. They said a jinn lived there, and that at night strange laughter echoed through the woods. But Abdullah's need was greater than his fear. He worked all day cutting wood until dusk fell. Tired and thirsty, he took his bottle, made ablution, and began to pray Maghrib. As he finished his prayer, an old woman appeared out of the mist. "Son, I'm so thirsty. May I have some water?" Without hesitation, Abdullah handed her his bottle. The old woman smiled, her eyes glowing faintly. "May Allah bless your kind heart. May all your troubles fade away." And just like that, she vanished into the air. Abdullah stood frozen, heart pounding. Then, frightened, he grabbed his bundle of wood and hurried toward the road. The air grew colder. The forest fell silent. Even the birds stopped singing. Suddenly, he noticed something strange, a dark, dry piece of wood glowing faintly blue. The light seemed to call him closer. As he approached, a soft yet haunting melody drifted through the mist. Then a silhouette appeared, a woman in white, glowing softly, eyes deep as the night sky. She spoke, her voice calm and echoing, "This wood belongs to me." Abdullah froze. Before he could speak, darkness overtook him. When he opened his eyes, a breathtakingly beautiful woman was sitting beside him. Who are you?" he whispered. "I am Noorez, the guardian of this bamboo grove. No human is allowed here, but your kindness touched my heart. Ask for what you desire, gold, gems, anything you wish." Abdullah bowed his head. "I want nothing for myself. I only want fair payment for my hard work, so my mother can live in peace." Noorez smiled softly. She waved her hand in the air, and a glowing axe appeared, floating in light. She placed it in his hands and said, "This axe will multiply the fruit of your labor 100-fold. But remember, if you ever grow greedy, it will turn to ashes." Before Abdullah could reply, she vanished, leaving behind only the scent of flowers and the glow of faith. The next morning, he went to the forest again. Amazingly, the axe worked like magic. In an hour, he cut more wood than he used to in a day. He sold the wood at a fair market, far from Kutab Mia's greed. Soon, Abdullah opened his own wood shop near the bazaar. He bought wood from poor villagers at honest prices. Within weeks, he earned enough to cure his mother, fill his home with light and peace, and help the poor every Friday. But Abdullah remained humble, the same quiet, hard-working soul. Qutb Miah, however, burned with jealousy. He sent his man, Jontu, to spy on Abdullah. One night, Jontu saw the axe glowing faintly in the dark. He ran back and told Qutb Miah. Greed shone in the old man's eyes. He hissed, "That axe will be mine." That night, Qutb Miah and Jontu broke into Abdullah's hut and stole the shining axe from beside his sleeping mother. At dawn, they rushed to Noor's bamboo grove. Standing before a massive tree, Qutb Miah raised the axe. "With this, I'll be richer than any man alive," he shouted. The first strike shook the air. The second made the axe blaze with strange fire, and then it crumbled into ashes. From the ground rose black smoke and a burning stench. A voice thundered through the grove, "Greed never brings sweetness, Qutb Miah." The bamboo began to sway violently, as if the forest itself had come alive. Qutb and Jontu screamed and ran. Jontu was never seen again. The next morning, the villagers found Qutb trembling, pale, terrified. He wept before everyone. "I stole the axe. The fairy punished me. Abdullah, forgive me." Abdullah said nothing for a long moment. Then he simply looked up and said, "What belongs to the fairy has returned to her." That evening, he went again to the grove with his old axe. There he found piles of fine wood waiting for him, and in the mist, the faint, familiar glow of Nora's light. Abdullah smiled quietly, lifted the wood onto his shoulders, and walked home in peace. As he disappeared down the path, a gentle voice echoed through the air. "Honesty will always bring sweetness." Abdullah looked up at the sky and whispered, "Alhamdulillah, God is great." The wind blew softly through the bamboo grove, as if the fairy herself was smiling.